So there's a lot of buzzword around AI software. I decided, could I use it to make a skirmish war game? Well, continue watching the video and see if I did. So in this video we're going to explore some of the steps I took in building a war game or a skirmish war game using AI software, from trying to design some game mechanics through to developing a background for the game, and then some of the artwork I generated to illustrate that game for when I put it into a PDF. So, can I make a war game with AI software? Is it possible? AI software is the current buzzword, and you can pretty much do a lot of stuff with some of the AI software that's out there. A lot of people are using it for a variety of different reasons, from copywriting through to generating art. The big question is, can you make a good war game using this software? The good thing about this approach is you don't need any prior experience in designing the game, because the software theoretically should do it for you. So, for all intents and purposes, the two sort of software I decided to use was ChatGPT, mainly because that's the one that everyone is using at the moment, and I have access to Adobe's Firefly, which is a beta version AI art generation software. I decided to set a game in Shanghai in the year 2095, after a global war and collapse in society. And the idea behind it was that what I wanted to do was take 1930s Shanghai and dump it into a cyberpunk future. So whereas in 1930s you had lots of different factions running around Shanghai, it included spies, the police, you had Western powers, you had criminal gangs, you had political elite and rich and economic elites. So I wanted to take all of that and dump it into a futuristic setting. So the first stage I decided to do was to get a ChatGPT to write the fluff. And this involved asking the software a series of questions to try and get it to output the background material that I wanted. Now, when you're doing this, you need to pay attention to the rules of English language. So, if you use words, things like explain, describe, you'll get a different output each time. So you need to be aware of how you use the English language to ask it questions in order to get the information that you want. Now, the software didn't have a problem outputting background material, or fluff, as a lot of gamers refer to it. And this basically involved me asking a number of questions. I get a piece of output out, and I might then ask further questions to get more detailed information in regards to that output. And it was very good at giving me information based on the questions I was asking it. Now, where it did struggle it was the rules section, and we'll go on to that in a minute. But I will say that even though it produces very good output for background material, you're still going to need to take that output, put it into a Word document and stuff like that, and do some editing. You're still gonna need a human element in editing that material, because it does have a tendency on occasion to repeat itself. So you are going to need some editorial input, in the same way as if you were asking a freelance writer to produce stuff for you, you will need to edit it that, and then in the same way you will need to edit the output ChatGPT outputs. So before I decided to delve in and try and get it to do rules, I started to have a play around with Adobe Firefly first. Take what I'd actually black background material I got and start trying to get some artwork generated to illustrate it. And Adobe Firefly isn't the only one out there. One of the more popular ones is Midjourney, and these are basically text to image AI software. You basically type in the short description or some keywords, and it will use that information and generate a piece of art for you. Or and generally its output is normally 4 versions, and then you can then build on those initial pieces of output. And that worked really well. Adobe Firefly was very good at outputting some of the artwork. So now I had background fluff, I had artwork. I decided it was time to sort of try and generate some rules for a gaming system. I decided to go with D6 just because there's quite a lot of games use D6, and because the AI software draws on what's already been designed or what have been written out in the world to try and generate something for you. I thought D6 there's more likely to be more out there for it to build off of. So I started asking questions to try and get some rules in place, some basic stuff, and this is where it started to sort of fall down. The process started to fall down a bit. Now, it was good at outputting ideas and some solutions for rules, but it was really difficult to get it to output what I would call a game system that was functional to the point of being able to play test. Now, I'm not sure whether that's because I wasn't asking it the right questions, or I wasn't explaining what I wanted well enough, or whether it was because the software itself couldn't actually generate something. So this is where I started to have some problems. Now, it did generate some little bits of rules and bits of ideas and stuff like that I could take and build on myself. And I'm at this stage. I'm guessing that it's going to have difficulty outputting a complete rule system for you, or but it will generate ideas and sort of snippets of rules and ideas around rules that you could take to build on. So at this stage of the AI development, I don't think it's possible. Based on my experience, I don't think it's possible to generate a complete rule system for a game, but it will generate a good starting point for you to take and build on yourself. So, can AI build a game? Not quite. It can build about 70% of a game. It can build you can use it to build all your background information. You can use it to generate artwork for your game. You can use it to generate ideas around the game system and sort of simple rules. But the rule system itself, you're going to have to still going to need a human element to actually create and build on. It was very good at generating ideas around game design for game rules, which will give someone or myself and anyone a good kickstart into developing their own rules. I don't think it's at the stage where it will develop its own rules for you, unless I just wasn't inputting the right data and questions. It could be that it can. I just wasn't doing it. I just wasn't providing it the correct detailed information and questions for it to generate a rule system. but personally I don't think it will. I think you'll get some very good ideas around it and get a good kickstart to developing your own system, but I don't think at the moment it can. What it's very good at is generating background information, and the text to art is at a point where you can generate professional level artwork for it. So if you're looking to start a new campaign from scratch in a world from scratch, using a rule system you're already familiar with and play, then yes, I think that is a possibility, and you can generate that very easily. And it could be a great tool for gamers going forward. I'm not sure at the moment you can just get on ChatGPT or a similar software and get it to write a set of rules for you. It's been a fun process, I must say, and it's allowed me to learn and understand a lot more about AI software. I think it's something most gamers should try, just for a campaign. Generate some background, generate some artwork, and away you go. I mean, it'll be ideal for roleplay gamers that are wanting to generate a homebrew setting, and they could do that very easily. So yeah, it was a good experience. It's a good experience, and I would say that everyone should probably have a go. So conclusion, yes, it will generate a very good workable background material or fluff for a game. It's going to struggle with writing rules for you. Artwork you can get easily to AI software to generate for you. Works quite well in that respect. So you can generate the bulk of a game, but I don't think at this stage level we can just go into AI software and get it to make a game complete from scratch, a playable version that can be play tested. Well, it's been a fun project to do, and I'll put together everything I've done, and it will be in the next issue of Irregular Magazine as a supplement. There won't be any rules, it will be the background and all the artwork that I generated. Well, that's all for now, folks. I'll see you next time, and don't forget to like and subscribe.